Hello and welcome to Inside the Summit League. We were at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls. The men's championship game just wrapping up here in the Summit League basketball championships, and North Dakota State and South Dakota State. These teams have now won the last 5 men's championships. South Dakota State won 2, North Dakota State won 2. South Dakota State gets the Bison here 67-59 in the men's championship game.
And it was another great game, a rematch of last year's championship game, which was a one-point affair. This one, another really close battle between these two teams like we've been accustomed to, but South Dakota State, a great defensive effort here tonight to win the game.
Tight, as we would imagine, through the first half. South Dakota State did build an 11-point lead with about 5 minutes to go. Bison cut into that again, but you got to give credit as well to North Dakota State. But as you said, Jackrabbits got on the offensive glass. Mike Dahm, 18 points, 9 rebounds. He was named the tournament most valuable player, and South Dakota State pulls it out.
Well, it was the South Dakota State offense, I think, that really put them over the hump. They had that run in the second half. They got the cushion with that, and their defense was just really locked down. They forced North Dakota State into some tough shots. The Bison only hit 9 baskets in the second half, and I thought that was really the key.
All right, the number 2 seed out of the Summit League, moving on to the NCAA tournament. Here's some post-game reaction from the Jacks and the Bison after this one.
It's a surreal feeling because, I thought about that game last year, the whole offseason, every day, man. That's why we work to get back to this point, and to see them in the finals, man, it doesn't get much, sweeter than that, and then beating them. I mean, it's an amazing feeling.
Our kids played looser tonight. I thought they, our motto is play like you're loved, and I thought tonight they did that. It's as hard as I've seen our kids play all year.
I'm glad we played these guys. Like you said, it was last year we failed. Just seeing these guys across from us, on the floor, just made us want to even play harder, and we knew what was on the line.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Last year, obviously, it was hard. I watched the guys, just how down they were, and that was a goal we set right away. We have the picture up in our locker room of the final score, and that was one thing we prided ourselves on the entire year, is just getting back to this moment.
We're going to do whatever it takes to win. Sometimes offensively we're terrible, sometimes we struggle defensively, but we find a way to win. That's what I love about these guys.
I don't think it has. It's something that I'm going to celebrate tonight, and then I'll forget it tomorrow because we got a game to get ready for, and I'm looking forward to Selection Sunday and just seeing our names.
Well, there were 2 unbelievable comeback finishes in the semifinals for the men. We'll take a look at those coming up in a bit. But up next, the women's championship. South Dakota riding a 14-game win streak into the final. South Dakota State trying to knock them off.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to the show at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls. The Summit League Basketball Championships, the men's final just finished up here. And here this afternoon, the women's championship goes to South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits over South Dakota 61-55. I don't know if you believe in the it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season deal, but in this matchup particularly, it was going to be hard for South Dakota, which beat South Dakota State twice during the regular season, to do it again.
It was, and I think because the games were so close in the regular season, not a huge surprise here, but South Dakota State, what a performance they put together on the defensive end. They hold South Dakota to 55 points, Tom. South Dakota came in averaging 80 a game, the best offensive team in the Summit League, and the Jackrabbits just shut them down on that end of the floor.
SDSU's most valuable player was named the most valuable player of the tournament here. Macy Miller, their sophomore guard, 18 points and 10 rebounds. Another very good game out of 3 games that she played well in the tournament.
Yeah, she really started coming on offensively in this tournament. Had struggled heading into it, but you could tell played with a lot more freedom in the Summit League tournament. I think her team really fed off of that.
All right, lots of great post-game reaction from the Jackrabbits and the Coyotes after this one.
We were just really moving the ball really well on offense, and we have a ton of great shooters, finishing on the inside and the outside. So we really had a lot of confidence in our shooters, and to knock down those shots, and they did.
It's such a great feeling, and just like the great team effort we had, it feels even better. Knowing that we came in and we got revenge on USD, it's even sweeter.
All the practices and all the hard work, this is what we've all put in for, is this tournament, and so it means a lot, and we're excited to keep moving forward.
It never gets old. Every one of them is just so special and so difficult. You saw the game today was just a grind from the beginning to end. In our second half, I thought, boy, we played as tough as we have all year.
You know, when you're playing your third game in 4 days and in this type of atmosphere and stuff, you're going to have to get through some of that ugliness, I guess, and find ways to make the plays when it counted, and we just weren't able to do that here today.
I think we gave it our all, and they just kind of kept coming back at it, and they were managed to make, I guess, a few more shots than us.
Well, one other big accomplishment of note this year on the women's side, the Omaha women win the first tournament game ever for their school by beating IUPUI in the first round. Well, up next, we'll take you back to Monday night and the men's semifinals, two of the most bizarre games and incredible comebacks of the season, one right after the other.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, we had two of the most bizarre, unbelievable semifinal games in the men's basketball tournament this year on Monday night. Let's take a look at those. IPFW got out to a 20-4 lead on North Dakota State. The Dons were up by 15 at halftime. NDSU methodically gets back into the game in the second half. They tie it at 65 on a 3 by A.J. Jacobson. Max Landis comes down, hits a 3 to put Fort Wayne ahead by 3. And then Carlin Dupree wins it with a couple of buckets in the final 43 seconds for North Dakota State.
Yeah, the big one at the end, the and one for Dupree, makes a huge move to the basket, and what a win for North Dakota State.
Bison stunned the Dons 69-68. The last lead was the only lead of the game on that play by Dupree as North Dakota State comes back in exciting fashion there. And then right after that, South Dakota State leads Denver by 8 at halftime. The Pioneers score the first 18 points of the second half. Denver's up by 10 with 5 minutes to play in this game, Newitt, but
what a huge hill South Dakota State had to climb, and they found a way to do it again. They had to do it against Oral Roberts. They did it against Denver, and what a crazy finish. It ended with Joe Rosga on the line.
Rosga had been fouled with 1.2 seconds left on, call it a questionable foul call, if you will. Everybody did, but he gets the 1-and-1, one of the best free throw shooters in the Summit and in the nation. Tough for the freshman, comes up short, and South Dakota State somehow comes back and wins this game by 1.
Well, it was an amazing win for South Dakota State. They had to pull 2 games out of the fire to get themselves into the championship.
All right, up next, we will take you to Flint, Michigan, by way of Brookings, South Dakota, and South Dakota State. A tale of 2 towns and 1 young man who has been forever affected by both.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Sioux Falls. One of the all-tournament players here in the men's tournament was Deondre Parks of South Dakota State, who has certainly made a name for himself in Brookings, South Dakota, and as well in his hometown of Flint, Michigan, a city that tries to define him for better or for worse. A great story here from David Brown.
This is Deondre Parks. This is a 6'1", 194-pound starting guard for the South Dakota State basketball team. And this is not his story, this is his reality. Away from the bright lights and shiny hardwood lies something much darker, a place routinely described as the most dangerous city in America. But to Deondre, Flint, Michigan is home.
Growing up, it was rough. It made me who I am today as far as toughness and, just competing at anything I do. A lot of drugs, a lot of guns, gang banging. A lot of deaths. You see every corner you see a liquor store, you see burnt houses down, in a row, probably the whole block.
With scenes today that mirror third world countries, it's hard to imagine Flint was once the epitome of industry. General Motors was founded there, providing thousands of jobs, including one to Deondre's grandmother. But once GM consolidated its productions, plants started to close, workers lost their paychecks, and Flint disintegrated into an abyss of poverty.
But it's just a poor environment, but you know, some people make it out, some people don't.
If Deondre's childhood was any indication, he was never supposed to leave. Abandoned by his birth father at the age of 3, he saw his mom's new boyfriend sent to prison for armed robbery.
So at the age of 9, you know, my mom started talking to me like, I need you to grow up quicker than what a normal kid would do.
But it wasn't long before the streets would start to make an imprint on Deondre's life. With no sustainable income, he looked up to neighborhood drug dealers, who would use him as a marijuana runner, making up to $200 a day.
Age 11, I was doing it. Mom never knew. Didn't never plan on telling her. But I mean, I'm older now, and I thank God I wasn't caught.
With easy money running around, Deondre's lifestyle became more envious, and jealousy breeded contempt in the form of multiple gun threats.
Did you ever get robbed?
Yeah, I got robbed. 10th grade year. I got robbed coming from my guy's house. You know, I got fancy clothes on, shoes, and, you know, just some, I call them scrubs, low lives who just, you know, look for people to plot on and take what they don't have.
The only thing Deondre had away from the seedy underworld of Flint was the hardwood.
I'm not really like a school guy, but I love the game of basketball and I'll do anything to play it.
Deondre excelled as a star player at Flint Northwestern High School. But in the summer between his junior and senior years, his close friend Ray was murdered after attempting an armed robbery. And Deondre nearly went down a path seemingly predetermined by the city's conditions.
We all wanted revenge. We planned on it. We plotted. We even talked about doing it. I mean, we all had guns at that age, so it was easy for us to go over there and just shoot up his house and kill whoever in there. My mom kind of talked me out of it. She's like, you do this, think about what's gonna happen with your brothers and sisters. You won't see them again. A gun crime affects home.
Deondre transferred to Kingdom Prep in Columbus, Georgia, got his high school diploma, and enrolled at Iowa Lakes Community College.
I would say if I didn't go to prep school, I'd probably be doing what I seen everybody else do, or I'd probably be dead.
Deondre may have used his athletic ability to escape Flint, but Flint's problems have an inability to escape Deondre.
How many friends or family members died before you came to college?
It's been a few. I'm trying to count them off in my head now. It's been 11.
His mind and heart were in Flint, but his body was in Esterville, Iowa, trying to attract the attention of a Division I school. His head coach at Iowa Lakes, Troy Larson, was a former assistant at South Dakota State, and that led to a conversation with SDSU head coach Scott Nagy.
There's so many fingers that run through his family, and I didn't know every single situation that was going on there, and I'm not even sure I still do. But I think when we recruited him, I mean, we understood that we were getting a kid from a pretty tough situation.
Deondre jumped at the chance to come to Brookings, a tranquil city that provided an atmosphere most take for granted, but Deondre accepted with open arms.
Nobody hates anybody, nobody want to kill anybody, and I had to adapt to that. Just, I'm just thankful to be here and see like a different community culture. Instead of, back at home, you gotta worry about, you gotta watch over your shoulder, who in this car, who in that car.
In his first season at SDSU, Deondre led the Jacks in scoring and helped them advance to the second round of the NIT. Frost Arena provided a sanctuary from the bitter cold he encountered from the outside world.
Just being out here with those guys takes my mind off a lot of things. But it's just like when the lights go off after the game, everything hits me again.
Over the summer, Deondre returned to Flint to visit his mom and 5 younger siblings. And he never knew a simple task would foreshadow a national crisis.
One morning I woke up and turned it on, getting ready to brush my teeth, and it came out brown. But we kind of knew something was going on with the pipes then, but the full story wasn't out about the lead in the water.
After the city of Flint changed its water source in 2014 to the Flint River, untreated water caused lead from aging pipes to leak into the supply. Now Deondre's family can only shower once a week, and his mom has to drive upwards of 2.5 hours just to find bottled water. But no matter the precautions, the damage has already been done.
My mom's real scared of it. My 2 little brothers were just diagnosed with lead poisoning, so she don't want to take like a higher risk of them being affected anymore. My 3-year-old brother can't talk because of the lead poisoning. It's like, I guess it's like eating his brain away or something like that they were saying, but it can be cured. My 10-year-old brother has seizures. You know, everything be fine with him, he'd be playing a video game, and then next thing you know, you just see his eyes roll in the back of his head. It's because he has lead poisoning.
Once again, basketball was Deondre's escape. He remains one of SDSU's leading scorers, but there are times where even the brightness of the court can't help him escape the darkness.
I see him thinking more this year than instead of just playing. I see some of the frustrations off the floor that leak onto the floor. I mean, I can see those things.
Maybe Deondre is thinking more, but if anything, it's helping him finally figure out how to save his family and himself. After all, why else would a 23-year-old just months from graduating become the guardian of his 14-year-old brother?
He was disrespecting my mom, staying out late. I took it upon myself. You know, I'm like, something down here with me. Something down here with me, let me take some of the stress off your back.
Even in the midst of his senior season, when college athletes are supposed to be relishing their final days before entering the real world, Deondre understands basketball, unlike family, won't last forever.
You know, moving down here, he see guys like me, George, Jake, you know, everybody on the basketball team doing something different than worried about fancy clothes and fancy jewelry and driving a nice car and having money in your pocket. I told him that's short term. And, you know, going to college can help you long term.
Whether he plays professionally somewhere or doesn't, basketball is going to end. And so then the question is going to be, what are you going to do with your life? You know, are you going to be prepared for when it's done?
Life has certainly been colorful for Deondre Parks. With tattoos honoring those he's lost and the city's landscape permanently on his mind and near his heart, Flint will always define where Deondre's from. But it will never define who he is. Basketball players may be measured by numbers, but Deondre's determination, motivation, and effort will ensure he never becomes a statistic.
God put his toughest soldiers through the toughest moments, and I've been through a hell of a lot. And you know, I'm still here, I'm still happy, still playing the game of basketball. I will continue until it's time for me to put it away.
Ton of credit to that young man. We wish him well. And up next, another great story from the tournament, a research hospital in Sioux Falls in a race to cure a disease that could and would be great news for Summit League Commissioner Tom Douple and his daughter.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. Summit League Commissioner Tom Douple, of course, comes to Sioux Falls for the basketball tournament every year. And there's one thing that he's always wanted to do here that he's never had the chance to do but did this year. The commish got to visit Sanford Research Center and the Sanford Project that is at work right now looking for a cure for type 1 diabetes. Douple's daughter, Emily, has diabetes, has for more than half of her life, and the two of them took the tour of this facility side by side.
It's a goal that's been on the top of Sanford's priority list for years.
It was amazing.
Find a cure for type 1 diabetes.
But it's special to me today to bring, Emily here to actually see that. So it's really been an eye-opener for both of us.
And it's been a long-term goal of Summit League Commissioner Tom Douple to see Sanford's progress in action. Because for the Douple family, Sanford's work here at the Sanford Project is personal.
My daughter Emily's had type 1 diabetes for 16 years. And I just thought it was important to show her that folks are out here making some research, making some progress on the disease.
Diabetes has been a part of Emily's life since she was just 13, but now at the age of 29, she's able to see firsthand the kind of momentum Sanford Health is creating to find a cure.
I don't know what I was expecting. I just wasn't expecting the depth of research that they're doing. And then when I saw it, it just gave me more hope, like, oh, they're getting there. And it really did help me have more faith in what they're doing out here.
The Douple family's visit is timely. Just last week, the Sanford Project introduced a brand new clinical trial aimed at finding a cure for a disease that affects more than 1.4 million Americans.
So this clinical trial is this: a newly diagnosed type 1 diabetic will have blood drawn from them. Then we will filter out these specific type of T regulatory cells and grow them up and expand them, and then reinfuse them back into the patients to restore balance.
Pierce is calling it the Sanford Project T-Rex, a clinical trial that researchers believe could literally take a bite out of type 1 diabetes. It's the kind of progress that has the Douple family excited about what lies ahead.
I think the biggest message we received today is hope, that there's hope in the future, and that means a lot to us.
It's that same hope
I hope the future is bright.
that continues to drive those working here at the Sanford Project.
I hope that within my lifetime we do find a cure, and then we can stop it and we can prevent it. And so that's my hope.
Our thanks to the commissioner and to David Brower, everybody here in Sioux Falls at the tournament. The tournament, by the way, sets another overall attendance record. More than 65,000 is the combined men's and women's total here at the Summit League Basketball Championships. We are on to softball and baseball here as we get into the spring. We'll see you next time on Inside the Summit League.